You're listening to Wordslinger Podcast episode 111, Getting Your Book Together with Rob Price. This episode of the Wordslinger Podcast is brought to you by Draft to Digital. Convert your manuscript, distribute it online, and get support the whole way at drafttodigital.com.
It's the Wordslinger Podcast, where story matters. Build your brand, write your book, redefine who you are. It's all about the story here. What's yours? Now, here's the guy who invented Pants Optional, Kevin Tomlinson, the Wordslinger.
Wordslinger.
Hey everybody, this is Kevin Tomlinson, the Wordslinger. I am the guy who invented Pants Optional. Believe it or not. Don't believe it. But, you know, the patent is pending. So thanks so much for tuning in again. I really appreciate you being here. This has been an interesting time for the Wordslinger, to be honest with you. So we, as you may have learned last week, we have transitioned out of the RV full time. Now we're doing things part-time. But we've moved into an apartment here in Pearland, Texas, which has been pretty cool. It's a great place, actually. It's we're kind of on top of the town center here, so there's shops and that sort of thing associated with our building. We're not specifically, our apartment is not above any shops, but they are a 5-minute walk at most away. So I slipped down to Barnes & Noble earlier and got some coffee and took care of a few things, and that was kind of cool. So that's pretty cool. Other news in Wordslinger land, of course, we've got, really everything is about unpacking right now. Unpacking and taxes. I actually will be doing taxes. I put everything off because of all the moving and shifting and everything. Could have gotten it done a lot sooner, but it was just too much. So I'm going to probably tackle that. Hopefully don't have to file any extensions. I hate taxes. I know I'm completely alone in that, but just take my word for it, folks. They're no good. I love giving my money away to the government for no discernible reason. Anyway, I'm not going to get off on that topic. But this week, I'm actually talking to somebody now. I introduced this in the front of the interview, but I'm talking with Rob Price, and he's the founder and president of Gatekeeper Press. And I met this gentleman and one of his compatriots at the San Francisco Writers Conference. That was a great conference. If you are in the Bay Area or you're able to get to the Bay Area the next time they have this thing, you should go. It's worth the price of admission. There are a lot of experts there. It is starting to trend more towards indie publishing, from my perspective, and from the conversations I had with a few folks. You can go there and meet some agents. You can actually pitch. You do pitch sessions. You can meet publishers. There's all kinds of advantages to being there, but the biggest advantage, of course, is to just be able to connect with other authors and other people in the publishing industry and learn some things that you may not have known. We enjoyed, we being Draft to Digital, we enjoyed being there so much that we're definitely going to go back. I'm looking forward to it. So you should check that out. That's neither here nor there. That's kind of a free plug for the San Francisco Writers Conference. So, there you go. Maybe I'll get a check in the mail. But the greatest thing for me has been, so far, I've gotten all these contacts there that I didn't have before. And it's led to a slew of guests on the show, which I do mention in the interview. So I'm not going to keep you from that. I don't have a ton of housekeeping this week. I'll get to the major housekeeping stuff after the interview. I don't got a lot of news or anything to announce, so, kind of a slow week, I guess. So, they happen. Anyway, without further ado, then, let me introduce you to Rob Price and Gatekeeper Press, and stick around afterward for a little bit of wrap-up. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in again, and today I'm talking to yet another person I met at the San Francisco Writers Conference. That conference has been a real wealth of guests for me, actually, but I'm talking to Rob Price. He is the founder and president of Gatekeeper Press, and if you are an author, especially if you're a new author kind of getting to this, these guys offer some services you're going to be very excited about. A couple in particular I can't wait to talk about. But Rob, thank you for being on the show, man.
Thank you so much for having me, Kevin. Appreciate it.
No problem at all. And I was glad to meet you guys at the conference. You were a joy to meet at the conference.
Well, likewise. Always good to meet good people, and it's a good time.
Yeah, and now you've got you guys have set up something. We'll talk. I want to talk a little about the company itself first. So tell me first what Gatekeeper Press is and how you help authors.
So Gatekeeper Press is a publishing service provider and distribution aggregator. And what we do is we offer a suite of services ranging from editorial to production and design to distribution. And we charge an upfront fee for the services we offer. And on the back end, the author retains 100% of their rights, 100% control over their manuscript and book, and earns 100% of their proceeds.
Okay.
So for an upfront fee, we create their book, and all of our services are a la carte, and we walk the author through everything, and then in exchange for those upfront fees, they retain 100% of their proceeds.
Okay. Oh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, then your model is you make all the money up front, but you provide a wealth of services. I mean, I'm looking at the How It Works menu on your site, and you've got quite a few services beyond just distribution. So you guys, one of the things I'm kind of excited about, frankly, is your ability to produce hardcover, which is something that's sort of eluded a lot of indie authors. Is that you guys do that through a partner?
We do. We work with a variety of printers, and for different types of books that we'll do, and for hardcover, we work with a couple different printers, and we'll do the design, everything from cover design, interior design, and then print and distribute hardcover books through virtually all retail outlets.
Okay, and the distribution is does that include brick and mortar stores, or is it mostly just ebook or e-retailers?
We do both. So by default, we make a hardcover edition or paperback available for sale virtually with all online retailers. But we do also have, and we discussed this with the author, one of the things that distinguishes us is that we really like to give a great experience with the author and great service. Yeah. And not to try to sell them something that they might not want. So what we would do is if an author wants to get access to brick and mortar bookstore distribution, we let them know that would then require we would need to offer a greater discount to those brick and mortar stores. Yeah. To up to about a 55% discount, and we can make that, and we have to make their book returnable as well. Yeah. So we have the ability to do that. The book would then become available to the brick and mortar sellers. We do not actively sell into those stores, so we don't have reps that go to Barnes & Noble purchasing manager and set that sale up. We make it available. The onus would then fall to the author and his or her marketing efforts and sales efforts to get into those stores. But we do have a number of authors who are there. But we like to tell the author that unless you're really sure that that's going to be something that's going to happen, you might want to consider sticking with the lower discount because you'll make money on your online sales that way. And I could get into that more if you like, but it gets a little convoluted.
No, okay, it sounds like. I mean, okay. Let me make sure I understand the gist of it. But sure, we would, as an author, I could pay you for design, which is could be part of the package. That's good to know. And then there is a distribution package, or it's part of the package, or it can be on its own, right? And then that goes. Correct. You make it available, sort of. Make it available through catalog or whatever to any bookstores at that point. So, what about the buyback? Like, if a bookstore orders 10 copies, is the author on the hook for those if they are returned?
The author would be on the hook for those, as all publishers are in our industry. Right. The returns that we all dislike so much. But yes, so if a bookstore ordered 10 copies and then ultimately returned them, we would actually have paid out the author the royalties they had earned, the sales, the proceeds they'd earned on those 10 sales. But then if and when those books get returned, then it would the author would have to still be responsible for the printing cost of those books and have to. So it would work in that way.
Yeah, this is the thing that always makes it difficult when you start thinking about paperback and hardback in brick and mortar stores. It's kind of the dream of everybody to walk into a bookstore, especially say Barnes and Noble, and see your book sitting there. But then the harsh realities kind of hit home because God forbid a few hundred bookstores order your books and a bunch of them get returned. Man, that's a hardship. So.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, being on the other side of book publishing. So now I'm running Gatekeeper Press, which, as we talked about, is working with a lot of self-published authors and small traditional publishers. But I actually got my start as a small traditional publisher with a company called Price World Publishing that still exists. Put out just a few books a year. But through that, I've experienced that a lot, getting a lot of returns, and it's never a fun thing. But you're absolutely right about all that.
Yeah. So it would almost be better, and I don't know if this is an option for authors with you guys, but if the author is able to pre-purchase a wealth of these books, and then would they be able to distribute them through you to the bookstores?
We don't operate like that. So we do all of our printing on demand.
Okay.
However, what we do, and a lot of our authors have chosen to do this, is that we can print copies for our authors at any time and in any quantity too, so they can go as few as one copy.
Yeah.
But so some of our authors will want to stock up, purchase a few dozen or more books, sometimes 100 or 200 copies, and then they can then go do what they please with them. So they can go solicit stores for consignment sales or even arrangements with small mom and pop shops.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of flexibility there. As far as when a bookstore, brick and mortar store, puts an order through us, we do that in the same way we fulfill any of our other sales, which is just print on demand.
Okay. All right. You can see, I mean, this is a big interest topic for most of the authors I know, and I do know a few 100,000 who would probably be very excited about just the prospect of being able to have their book in hardcover. I know you can do this through various services, but it always seems like such a pain. Like my buddy Nick Thacker, he does every book he releases, he has a hardbound version created. He does his layout, he does everything. And to me, it's always been a real hassle to do that, so I never bothered. So maybe I'll pay you guys and just do it.
Well, let us know. I mean, that's exactly what we do. And so because we offer our services a la carte, if an author comes to us if they need us to do their editing or proofreading, we do that. If they need a cover design, we do that. If they don't need any of these things, that's fine too. So if someone comes to us with a completed or edited manuscript or what they feel is edited enough, we then would do that design for them.
Yeah.
They're involved in that process the whole way through, and they approve it, and then we can just do the distribution. So it's what we do every single day. Yeah. So sometimes sometimes it's better to hire the people who do it all the time.
It's true, yeah. It's easier. I've said this a lot, and particularly lately it seems. But there are two trade-offs. I mean, there's money and there's time, and money is the shortcut for time. Time is more valuable to an author than money, whether they will agree or not. But you need time to write the books. You need time to market. You need to time to spend with family, and so it's worth paying somebody if you can.
Right.
So, you guys handle pretty much all of it, though. I mean, I'm looking at your list of services. I mean, you go soup to nuts. I mean, you're short of marketing, you guys don't do any marketing.
That's right. So, and you're right. We even use that term "soup to nuts" sometimes. But yeah, so we do offer all services that an author could need. You're right, with the exception of selling marketing services.
Yeah.
There are a number of reasons for that. It's a difficult area to sell somebody something when it's hard to guarantee results. And in this industry, that's where we find a lot of the most bad actors out there too, that are selling. They're selling for lots of money, don't produce any results. But what we do with our authors on that front is we do have places we'll send them, or for them to places that we trust, and places that we do not have any sort of financial arrangement with. We're not doing that to make a small commission off of somebody. Instead, it's we get value in sending our authors to places that we know do a good job.
Oh, okay.
So we offer every other service. Perhaps the one other service we're not currently doing that is asked about sometimes is audiobooks.
Yeah.
But we're actually in the works right now talking with some companies that supply that service to be able to offer that to our authors at a really affordable price as well. That still might be months down the road, but we're always looking to do some more things.
Yeah. Just to put it out there, I mean, you guys have some slight overlap with Draft to Digital, of course. I have to bring them up. I'm like contractually obligated as their director of marketing, I think. I obligated myself. But I like the fact that you guys go into print. I like that stuff quite a bit. And so you're saying you have some like retail partners or something that you use for, or I guess strategic partners for, passing off things like marketing and that sort of thing?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and depending on what the author's looking for, we really want to give them a great service, and so we'll send them places and we'll introduce them to people to make sure they're not getting ripped off. Yeah.
See, I could definitely see, and you and I have discussed this, and we'll discuss it further offline before, but I could definitely see some real good, solid crossover for Draft to Digital authors to be able to kind of extend what they're making available out there. Plus, your price for cover design is actually pretty decent. Now, I haven't seen any covers. I don't know which covers you guys have designed, but I like the price. It's good to have a solid, one price to pay.
Well, yeah, and that's, we looked around informing this company at what some other players in the industry are doing.
Yeah.
And we decided to just offer one price that is very affordable. And with that price, what we do on the cover side of things is we have the author submit any direction they may have or any images that they may have. And even if they don't have any images or direction, we then will work based off of their book's description.
Right.
But so what we do is we will create at least 3 separate designs for them based off of the direction that they provide. I say at least. Sometimes my cover designer will go on a tangent and take it off and do a few more, but we give at least 3, which is always nice. But we do at least 3 mock-ups. We send that to the author for their review, and then we include 2 rounds of revisions with that price of $2.99.
Okay.
And what I always tell the authors too, because I started myself as a self-published writer, and I know how scary it is, and that's one of the things why we hold the hand so much. But so I always tell the authors that we're not trying to make money. We're not trying to nickel and dime you with after you've done 2 sets of revisions.
Yeah.
Where we will begin charging a $25 fee per batch of revisions. But what I say is, if we're just not getting what you want, don't worry about it. We're going to keep working until we do.
Right.
We really include that sort of fee there to keep some of those authors who would just never stop.
Yeah.
So we work until the author pretty much is very happy, and our cover design is top notch.
I like that. Where can I find sample covers, man?
Well, on our website, we have a few right now. By the time this interview goes out, we should have a lot more on there to showcase what we can do.
Okay. Is it I'm seeing some in your banner.
Yeah.
One of which is a rippling man. You guys took one of my photos and put it on.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, that was a fitness. That's one of our fitness titles. But if you go to our testimonials page too, we have a number of our covers listed there.
That's cool.
And we intend on putting more on there because we really want to showcase what we do. We do all types, all genres, fiction, nonfiction, business books, memoirs. So we do a lot of work.
That's cool. Yeah, this is another area where authors have a lot of trouble, for various reasons, and financially it can be kind of a burden on some authors. So it's good. I think what you guys offer is a pretty decent price.
Sure.
And for those listening, by the way, we'll have a nice little bonus. I don't think you included cover design in that, but there's some nice little things you might be able to hop in on for free to try these guys out, which is always fun. So
yeah, you know what? We will do a cover for free. I think I did include that, but then I might have caused some confusion later. But we're happy to do a cover for free.
Okay.
And one other thing too, Kevin, that you said about what's beneficial to authors, having a professional do it and saving them the time. It's not only that, but it's peace of mind to know that you're getting something done professionally and according to book industry standards and best practices. And then not just the peace of mind, but then actually having something that looks good. Because the biggest mistake a lot of self-published authors will do is not do that extra step and make it look professional. And readers can see whether it's an unedited manuscript or a homemade cover or interior, it can show. And those are the sorts of things that, it's sad to see when an author puts so much time and a writer so much time into their manuscript, their art, and then, people judge a book by its cover, right?
Right.
And they really do.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. And it is kind of nice to have, since you guys, you at least, I think you have other members of your team that you guys have actually worked in the publishing world. So it is also equally good to be able to reach out to people who are, who know what a professional cover looks like, who know what a professionally laid out manuscript is supposed to look like, and get a help with that. That's great.
Yeah. Our team, most of our team has been together for more than a decade. Gatekeeper Press, as it exists, we launched 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But I was referring to my traditional publishing company before. That company's been around for 15 years, and it's really all the same back-end infrastructure that we do. Yeah. We just changed the business model. So instead of a traditional publisher where the publisher takes on the cost, we're just charging a service for these fees. And you're exactly right. And one thing, too, that I probably should have mentioned at the top of the interview is that when an author works with us, we assign them what we call an author manager. So it's one person that goes through the whole process with them, one point of contact. And I actually do that for a lot of the authors now as well, personally. And so we walk them, we really take them through from start to finish and make sure that nothing's left out.
Oh, that's great. See, and that right there is worth just about any cost, honestly, because especially for brand new, just coming into the industry, so many authors, and I've noticed lately, I was having this discussion with somebody today, actually. I have a tendency to forget that not everyone knows the stuff I know. And so one thing, one consequence of that is, I've written a few like basic 101 type blog posts lately that have just blown up because people didn't know, certain aspects of the industry. And so it just, I forget, and I think a lot of us forget that someone coming into this, even someone who's maybe put out a couple of books already, may not realize some of the ins and outs and could use that kind of guidance. So that's good to hear.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, you're completely right, because these are the people we work with every single day.
Yeah.
And it's a daunting, scary world sometimes for a lot of people, even those, like you say, who have been published before.
Right.
Because there's so many options, and you want to make sure you're doing things the right way. And a lot of people, understandably, are nervous, and it's with their project they've worked so hard on.
Yeah.
And even though our prices are affordable, it's still not nominal, and so you're putting money and time and into this, and it can be scary. And we've even worked with authors who've come to us from the traditional world, from places like Random House and other places, but they've never done it self-publishing.
Right.
So they have no idea what goes into the cover design or the layout process. So,
right.
But so we take a lot of pride in making sure that the author feels very comfortable, and we very much assure that everything will be done correctly for them.
Yeah, that's good. I'm a big fan of advocates for the authors.
So, and you know what, you're right too about the value of that. We probably should charge more, but we.
No, I did not say that. I did not say that.
No, I'm saying that. But because we do. It's unlimited consultation at any time.
Yeah.
Phone, email, and if the author has questions about things like marketing that we don't directly offer or anything else in book publishing, we're here to help as best we can.
Right. I I was going to say, actually, in regard to price, I mean, what I like is it is for some authors, well, you can never please everybody, right? And you can never quite reach every demographic. But I mean, some authors, your prices are probably going to be a little out of their reach. But I would encourage almost every author, because I think they're reasonable. Like, we're talking like in the $300 to $400 range for most of what you offer,
right?
From what I'm seeing, and I would encourage almost every author to do that, mostly because there is something to be said for investing financially in your own business, which most authors, have to come to that realization at some point. And I think this is perfectly attainable for everything you offer, balanced with the benefits that come with it. I actually think it's pretty good. So, and that's me speaking as somebody who mostly everything I do is about giving authors something for free. Right. So, but I still think that that's a worthy investment.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, like, so where does the gatekeeper and gatekeeper press come from?
So
that's a bad word in my world. That's why I ask.
Oh, gatekeeper. Well, I think I know why. I'm going to guess I know why, and it relates to why we chose the name.
Right.
So for decades or centuries, perhaps, there have been gatekeepers in the publishing world.
Yeah.
Side, you get published, you do not get published, and it's been a very difficult thing throughout history to bring your book to market.
Right.
So with the new technologies that exist, things like print on demand and ebooks and everything else, the idea of Gatekeeper Press is that we are opening these gates to the book publishing world to anyone and everyone who wants to join and be on the same platform and have the same quality or better and the same distribution channels as anyone who's published traditionally.
Yeah.
So that's where it comes from. Was I right? Is that where? Why it has a negative connotation?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, because we have enough actual gatekeepers between us and what we're trying to do, and I'm glad to see people out there, sort of looking and understanding that too, because I have talked to a lot of people who own small presses or publishing imprints who really effectively are just trying to mimic the model of the Big Five,
right.
Which is, one of the reasons that indie publishing, I think, has taken off is that we get so much control over what we do. And, we can be told 100 times your book sucks, but 100 more times someone will pay for it. So it's
right.
It's kind of liberating.
Right.
So.
The validation can come from sales that occur.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, we've worked with authors who see it both ways. So we work with some authors who have done so well that they then get solicited by a traditional publisher.
Yeah.
And we've had authors go ahead and take that option and go with them.
Okay.
All of the distribution we do is non-exclusive, and we sort of do it at the author's pleasure. So if they say at any reason for any time, please remove me from sale, we do.
Right.
But we've also had some authors who've been solicited by traditional publishers and who have turned it down because they were doing so well and making so much money on retaining 100% of their sales versus if they were to go to a traditional publisher,
right.
give up no, I'm going to keep doing this. So it depends on each person, but the self-publishing world now has the ability, authors to have the ability to compete and exceed.
Yeah. So
compared to traditional.
Yeah, exactly. And you bring up a very interesting concept, by the way, and this has happened. I've actually witnessed this happen with a few authors, indie authors, but the concept of being picked up for a traditional contract. Is there some advantage in being in your distribution network that might aid an author who has that as a goal?
It may. Yeah, I think that if an author comes to us and they've shopped around their manuscript, they have not had success, but then they go through us and find that they're doing so well that they could get noticed that way by a traditional publisher, or they could use that sales history to further sell their book.
Yeah.
And so now there is some traditional publishers might take issue if a book has already been released, but
Right.
some do not, and so it depends. And a lot of the writers we work with are somewhat prolific, and they write more than one book. So if your first book you do self, then your second one you've now generated interest, you could get picked up that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've. Mm-hmm.
I do think, by the way, that the trend for indie authors is to be prolific.
Yeah.
I know a lot of traditional authors as well, and they tend to do one book. Like, some do one book and that's it. Some do one book and then 4 years later a second book. And so
Right.
I think that on the indie side, really, if I were, and I'm going to confess, I've never worked with traditional publishers. I had a contract with a traditional publisher for a time, but I'd never worked in that part of the industry. So maybe there's reasons for this. But if I were sitting on, I don't know, if I were at Random House, for example, I'd be watching indie authors very closely because, if you want a wealth of books to bring in that, you usually come along with a platform, a bunch
Right.
of readers who already want the work and a distribution, or not distribution, but a marketing and promotional network that already exists. I mean, I think you'd be crazy to not pay attention to the indie publishing world. But
I completely agree with you, and you took the word right out of my mouth, is the platform.
yeah,
Because even the largest traditional houses are more and more pushing off the burden of promotion, publicity, marketing to the author themselves. So they want to work with people who can do that,
Right.
or have that platform.
yeah.
So for better or worse, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, it's interesting to know that I'm not actually seeing that as a trend. I mean, I would have expected, especially with the success of guys like Hugh Howey and Andy Weir and the big megas who have essentially crossed the boundaries between indie and mainstream.
Right.
Why am I not seeing a few thousand of these folks being inducted into the traditional world? But maybe that's for everyone's benefit. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it will go in that direction.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely, perhaps. But
I really think a hybrid model is on its way. I think we're already kind of seeing it with. I was talking with a few agents at that conference, and this idea of we have an encouragement to be hybrid. If you get a traditional contract, you can market your work better if you're also publishing a few novellas around that universe, and you just where it might not be profitable for one of the big five to publish a bunch of that stuff. The overhead might not be worth their time. You going out and doing it to promote this other big book that you have. I mean, that
Right.
makes a lot of sense. So I think
Absolutely.
we'll see that. I think that's growing. Where do you guys see yourselves in what role do you see yourselves playing in that sort of thing?
well, on the sort of traditional to self-publishing spectrum, with hybrid everywhere in between,
Yeah.
Gatekeeper, we are to the self-publishing side. So we, I've said, that the author will pay for the services, and then they retain 100% of the proceeds. Whereas, something in purely hybrid would be publisher and author sharing costs, sharing control, sharing responsibility.
Right.
But I do see, like you, that hybrid seems to be getting more and more pronounced and ubiquitous everywhere.
Yeah. I think it's not going to be long before we start seeing something's going to evolve. I don't know who's going to get there first, but something's going to come out of this jumble of things that's happening. So you guys are you're in Portland, right?
No.
No?
We are in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, okay, Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
Well, that's close. No, it's in no way close.
It's a few thousand miles away.
Columbus, Ohio. What? So why Columbus?
So I actually was. I started as a self-published writer.
Okay.
I did that when I was in college, but I didn't know that I was going to make a living out of book publishing.
Uh-huh.
So I went from college to law school at The Ohio State University.
Yeah.
And so I technically am an attorney. I don't practice.
I know so many technical attorneys
Right.
who are
Right.
self-publishing.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so I went to Ohio State in Columbus. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
And surprisingly perhaps to some of your listeners, but maybe not, I really enjoy the city. And so I've been here. I had a short stint in Chicago for a few years, but I have made Columbus my home.
Okay. I've never actually been to Columbus, Ohio, so I'm going to have to get out your way at some point.
I like it a lot.
Tour your place there, man. We'll hang out.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
That's cool. No, I mean, here's what's interesting about that to me, because you guys, okay, so you're in Columbus, Ohio. Draft to Digital is in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I'm kind of fluttering it, all over the place. But I'm starting to notice that publishing is becoming somewhat decentralized. Whereas it used to be, you had to be in Manhattan to really make a dent, or somewhere like that.
Right.
Now you're starting to see Columbus, Ohio pop up. You're starting to see,
right.
Maybe
Sure.
Colorado Springs, that sort of thing.
Right.
So that's really interesting. That's very interesting.
Well, yeah. I think it's the same trend just in most other industries where, the beauty of the internet is you can have clients or people you work with all over the world.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure Draft to Digital does it a lot. You probably have people from everywhere.
Yeah.
And same with us, and even some of the people who work for Gatekeeper. We've got the editor in Florida and a cover designer in California. So we're really all over the place.
Yeah. What's great about that is it's possible now to dip into a talent pool that you would not have had access to before.
Mm-hmm.
So that,
right.
What you've created doesn't have to be, I have to settle for the guy who lives next door to me who does cover design, even though he's not that great, because he's next door,
Right.
So you actually get to expand. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and
been
like,
a business.
like,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Oh, no, I was just going to say, and likewise, you don't have to rent out 2 floors of a Manhattan skyscraper.
True.
And then have to make back that overhead by increasing your prices. So
right.
It allows for lower overhead, more efficiency, which keeps costs down. And that's what we're trying to do, is give a great experience.
Yeah, and you pass that on to the author.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's very cool.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, we're kind of at time, so I don't want to soak up too much of your time. But I appreciate you being on, man. And I'm definitely going to send people your way. Now, where can they find you guys online?
Our website is gatekeeperpress.com.
Okay.
And yep.
No Twitter handle, man? Come on.
Well, we'll be there. We're too busy publishing books. And
no, I hear you. No, and here's what I found out yesterday. Actually, this was, we use Slack at Draft Digital, and I think Dan Wood actually posted something about this yesterday, that there's a trend now they're discovering, or research is showing, that authors tend to gravitate toward Facebook more than Twitter now.
Yeah.
Which I find interesting. So, no problem, man. It always shocks me when people don't have a Twitter handle. That's all.
Well, that will come soon. You met my colleague in San Francisco, Tony, who will be taking up all of our social media shortly, and I'm sure Twitter will be top of his list. So,
all right. Well, look, if he has anything he needs a hand with, let me know. I've kind of had to do that for Draft Digital too, so I can help out. All right.
I'll hold you. All right.
You do it. Hold me to it, man. I'm nothing if I don't stick to my word. So
that's true.
And anything that helps authors, even if indirectly, I'm all on board. So it sounds like you guys do quite a bit to help authors. I'm very impressed with what you guys are doing. I know there is some overlap in the ebook distribution, but I think you guys are a great fit with Draft Digital, actually. So.
I think so too. And as far as overlap goes, again, in keeping with trying to give our authors the best information and best advice, if someone would be better served going to Draft Digital for the ebook side than with us, we would tell them that.
Yeah.
Again, we're not trying to take advantage of people, unlike so many other people in this industry.
Yeah, there's so many predators out there.
Right. So I completely agree with you on the sort of what's the word, a complementary arrangement or something with Draft Digital and Gatekeeper.
Yeah. You heard it here, folks. unofficially on the air. All right. Well, okay. We're gonna have wrap up. Everybody listening, stick around. You're gonna be able to hear a quick wrap up, probably some housekeeping for the show. You never know what you're going to hear. And thank you, Rob, for being on, man. I am, of course, I am impressed with what you guys have built. And, I've already kind of recommended you a couple of times, but now that I've gotten a chance to talk to you, I'm going to start sending some more folks your way. Because I know a lot of people who could use, especially on the print and the hardback side. So thanks so much for being on, man.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Kevin. It's been a great time.
You got it. Everybody else hang out. We'll chat soon. Well, I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Rob Price and Gatekeeper Press, or from Gatekeeper Press. I really enjoyed meeting Rob, and he's a good guy. His partner there was fun to chat with as well. It's great. One of the things about going to these conferences, now going as a representative of Draft Digital has its perks, I will admit, but even just attending as an author, I've had some really great experiences at conferences like these. In particular, just getting to hang out with people who get what I'm going through, who understand the sorts of things that I'm dealing with as an author, in terms of marketing, in terms of, craft, just everything that involves the career of the indie author. You can usually meet somebody who's pretty keen on talking to you about it. At any rate, my advice is if you have the opportunity, definitely go and attend these conferences, meet people, and go there with the idea that you are just kind of communicating with folks. Don't go there with an agenda, help me get my book published or whatever. It's much better to just go and experience it and make some natural contacts. Anyway, I know that wasn't the point of this episode, but I felt like throwing it in there at the end. At any rate, so our housekeeping. This is the housekeeping segment of the show. At least I try to make this the housekeeping segment. If you would like to help support the Wordslinger podcast, there's a couple ways to do that. Of course, you can do it financially by going to wordslingerpodcast.com and clicking on the Patreon button. And Patreon allows you to to be a patron, to make a small donation, and you can make it a recurring donation that of any amount you like, $1 if you want. But it's very helpful to me to help pay for some of the overhead of the show. And I use that money if I'm going to expand on the show in some way, buy a new resource or whatever. I try to keep everything in the budget of that income. I don't get a ton from it, but I do appreciate the people who are contributing. You're a real blessing to me, actually. It helps me every time the little payment notification comes in. I have to smile because it means there are people out there that listen and care and want to see the show continue. It does help with bringing in new listeners. The whole point of the Wordslinger podcast, of course, is to provide stories to you that you will find helpful in your daily life and your career. So, little monetary contributions do help with that. They help me to reach out to other listeners, other people. Hold on, I'm going to pause just a second, clear my throat. There you go. All right, it'll be better now. I was kind of getting a little raspy there. See, warts and all, folks. That's what you get with the Wordslinger podcast. I bring you authenticity. So at any rate, that's one way you can support the show financially, but you can support the show as well by going onto iTunes and leaving a review. That helps a lot, actually. It helps other people to discover the show a little easier. But go on iTunes and search for Wordslinger podcast. You can do this on any of the services you might use to listen, by the way. It doesn't have to be iTunes, although iTunes helps me the most. I'm just going to put that out there. If you'll go on iTunes and search for Wordslinger podcast and then follow the directions to leave a review, rate and rank the show, write a nice review. Tell me what you like about the show. Let other people know the value that you find in it, and they may like that and want that same value. So that helps a great deal. Now, you can also help me, and this one's a little different, but if you have questions that I can answer, either I or my guests, I will pass questions along to guests, and I may even try. One of the things I thought about trying was if someone has a question for a guest, I might actually try to contact that guest for a brief Q&A, something I can play on the show. I haven't done this yet, but I think it would be kind of cool. So if you have a question for a former guest, let me know. Sometimes I can track them down, sometimes I can't, but it happens. People move on. Some people leave their careers. There's all kinds of reasons why. But I will always try to reach out to these folks. But you can also call and leave a question at 281-809-WORD. That's 281-809-9673. Leave me a voicemail. You can leave a voicemail from the wordslingerpodcast.com site. Right there on the homepage is a little button, floats on the right-hand side. It's a little tab that says send voicemail. I've had some lovely voicemails, actually. I've had some folks who've just left very encouraging words, which I do appreciate. Often they will have questions, which I will answer on air. If you don't want something played, or if you don't want an email read or a review read or something like that, just let me know. I tend to bring all that stuff to my audience when it comes up because I'm celebrating the little victories. And I'm proud of it. But those are some ways you can help support the Word Slinger podcast. And tell your friends. Tell people about it. Spread it around on social media. That'll help a lot, actually. Send links to episodes and tell people, I love listening to the show because, or I hate listening to the show because. If you can't stand the Word Slinger podcast, I do understand. Sometimes I don't, click with just everybody. I hope we don't have that kind of relationship. I do a lot. I work very hard and do a great deal to make sure that what I'm providing is valuable. And it is wonderful to me to hear people chime in and say that how much they appreciate something. So anyway. Gonna move on from that. My voice is starting to give, I think. I'm having a raspy Friday kind of voice. I'm running behind on everything. It's nearly noon now. Usually I have the episode buttoned up and already uploaded by now. So it's been a little difficult with all the moving and everything, and I've had some work, additional workload. Got conference season coming up. It's gonna be crazy. Speaking of conferences, this month I will be. I'm going to pull up my calendar so I can give you the exact date. I will be in Austin, Texas. That's actually not far from me. I mean, I'm already in Texas, but I will be in Austin for the Smarter Artist Summit. And that is running, I believe, the 26th through the 28th. I'm at least there during that time. Actually, I'm going to be there from the 25th through the 29th, I believe. Let me check that. There we are. I will be there from the 25th to the 29th. So the conference is the 26th and 27th. And if you're going to that, please, say hello. Look me up. I'd love to chat with you. It's great to meet people in person. I've got a lot of friends now that I met at the last couple of conferences there. So it is a wonderful summit for me. And I go. It's only been running for like 3 years, and I've gone every year. So. Really excited about being there this time around. I'm going to be representing Drafted Digital for the first time. I'll be there with Dan Wood, who is also he's a compatriot of mine from Drafted Digital, and he was there last year as well. So this is a great one to attend if you're not already in. I think there may still be slots. You might want to check it out. Just search for Smarter Artist Summit online. You'll find it. If you are not going, but you happen to be in the Austin area, I'm going to be there for a couple of days after the conference. I'm taking the RV, and I'm going to hang out and just kind of chill in Austin for a day or two. Get some writing done, see some sights, just make a kind of mini vacation out of it. I still got work to do, so I'll be working, at least on Friday I'll be working. So, but the weekend, it's all ours, baby. I'm going to try to get my wife up there, but she's actually traveling for work herself right now. Go figure. And we're not traveling the same. What's funny is normally we would try to coordinate things so we were traveling in the same places at the same time. But it just so happens that over the next few months, we're actually going to be in wildly different places, both traveling for work. So, whatever. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in again. I'm sorry I'm rambling on a little here at the end. I appreciate your support. I cannot thank you enough for the kind words and the emails and voicemails that come through. I really do appreciate that. I hope you have a very blessed weekend. This is I'm talking to you on Good Friday, actually. We're going into the Easter weekend. As many of you know, I am a Christian. I'm part of the Christian faith, and this is a very special time of year for me and for those that I love. But I want to extend that blessing to each of you. So God bless each of you in this coming holiday. The meaning of this, I will be happy to talk to you about at length if you ever want to reach out. And I just hope you have a safe and healthy weekend and a happy weekend with your family. So God bless each of you, and I will see you next time.
Word Slinger.